Thank you for listening to the Gateway to the Rockies podcast from Visit Aurora from the rafters of the Stanley Marketplace. This is the show dedicated to telling the stories of Aurora, Colorado. Hi there, I'm Dave, Director of Marketing for Visit Aurora. On this episode, we sit down with Andy Magel, Director of Impact for Change Please Coffee in Aurora, a cafe at the University of Colorado's Anschutz Medical Campus that's not just serving up great coffee, but also changing lives, from barista training to employment opportunities for individuals experiencing homelessness. Andy, thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks so much for having me, dude.
Originally from Portland, Oregon.
You did some digging.
A town renowned for staying weird.
That's true.
In my time working in Portland, there was a fascination with the carpet at the airport. I have to ask, do you have a photo of yourself with the infamous PDX carpet?
Multiple, yes.
I don't know if you've heard, but they're bringing back the old carpet.
Yeah, they redid the airport. It looks awesome now.
What brought you to Colorado? Can you tell us about your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up out there, went to college out there, and when I graduated college, I made the move to Colorado, moved out here for new adventures and found them and haven't left.
You've dedicated your life, professionally at least, to helping people in the community. Can you talk about your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was in school out in Portland, on the Burnside Bridge is the Portland Rescue Mission. Spent a lot of time down there with the volunteer group serving hot chocolate. Met a lot of people who were getting back on their feet, but really kind of like running into the wall of like, how do I get back into society and normal life? I was a business student and thought, like a job that was a little bit more than a job might be a helpful piece of the puzzle for these guys who had become my friends. And so I kind of went on a journey that started there and took many stops and winding paths to like figure out the path, but have really enjoyed being in that space for a long time now.
Was there an inherent empathy that you had growing up? Because, one doesn't just go into the rescue mission on a whim. Like, what was the foundation of this feeling of like, I can make a difference, I can help people?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the catalyst was I'm a college student who has no idea what I'm doing with my life. And frankly, I feel a little bit depressed about that. I don't know what to do. And I just had this group was like, well, come with us down to the rescue mission. I said, okay, sure, I'll do that. And I think empathy, I suppose, is one of those things that you kind of have, but you can also build those muscles. And so it came from relationship with people who I still think about by name. They're a part of my life, a part of my story. They taught me a lot on the sidewalk there in Portland. And what I learned was that I was capable of connecting with people in an authentic way, and that like I had skills and tools and resources that were helpful. And I realized that I really liked being in that relationship and kind of doing that work with people and alongside other people, and just want to do more of it.
Can you talk a little bit about founding Mile High Workshop and what that work meant to you?
Yeah, I mean, that's been such a great adventure. I got to start that organization in 2014, got the opportunity to launch it under the umbrella of another organization that's been in Denver for a long time called Mile High Ministries. They gave me the opportunity to come in, they gave me a job and an office and said, see what you can do to support the folks we're working with in the community. And so, yeah, started that, ran that for a little over 9 years, absolutely loved it. Not that it wasn't challenging, but it was just an amazing opportunity.
We live in unprecedented times now for a half a decade. How do you stay motivated? What personally drives you to keep going every day?
Oh, yeah. Great question. I mean, I think like you can think big and you can look macro and you can read the news every day and can get super depressed. But I think like the cure for me in that sense has been to stay really small and to think about the relationships I have, the people who are in our lives. Like at Change Please yesterday, we had an orientation for our next cohort. 13 people showed up to that orientation, and we had to look at them and our cafe and be like, all right, we're going to do everything we can to support you on your journey. And like, that's going to be a positive experience, and we get to control that. It's under our roof. And regardless of what's happening in the city, we're all aware of lots of things right here in our city that are not what we want them to be or wish they were, but like we get to control this and we get to build these relationships and we get to make a positive impact in that way. And that's what I'm focused on right now.
Change Please is a very unique organization. It's got a distinct mission. 100% of profits go to help end homelessness. For those who haven't heard about what the organization is all about, can you kind of shed some light for us?
Yeah, Change Please is great. It's a coffee organization kind of at its core, and it started over in London in 2015. So they've been around for a little while in Europe. relatively new to the US, very new to Aurora. We've been operating a cafe, like you said, around the Fitzsimmons campus since last summer. And we operate a cafe and we sell coffee so that we can work with people who are getting back on their feet and kind of, coming out of homelessness, recovering from barriers to employment. We want to be kind of this like first step for them into the workforce. So we're a training program. We teach them the essentials of barista skills, hospitality skills. Then we partner with businesses in the community to help them find their next step and kind of move into a career trajectory.
How did the ideal blossom? How did coffee become kind of the vehicle that would then eventually lead to this desire for social change?
Yeah, I mean, well, it started on the streets of London with a guy named Jamal. And I think, his thought was that, hey, coffee is everywhere. Most people love coffee. It's in our daily lives. We spend money on it. We consume it. Like, can we take a little bit of that activity and use it to benefit the community in a positive way? Could you kind of peel off some of that and have positive impact there? And I think so far the answer seems to be yes.
What brought you into the organization? Obviously, you have the business acumen, you have the public service acumen. How did you get connected and how were you inspired?
Yeah, this is a great full circle question because growing up in Portland, home of good coffee, in my personal opinion, just kind of a coffee city, grew up with coffee in my veins and just love it. It's been kind of my personal hobby for as long as I was old enough to drink it. And so, then kind of marry my love of social enterprise, of using kind of business for good. And when I heard about Change Please, I was like, oh man, this is kind of too good to be true. I had stepped away from the workshop. I was kind of curious about what my next thing was going to be. And I was looking at lots of really cool options, but it's just all my friends were like, dude, these are your two favorite things. You have to pursue this. And it's been a really fun journey so far.
Yeah, I want to be careful in the characterization of Change Please. You have multiple locations, but this is by no means a large corporate chain. You have strategic locations, a few in the United States now. I believe there's one in Baltimore, right?
We've got one in New York and we've got one in Charlotte. And we've done some work in Baltimore. We have customers there. But in terms of our real training presence, we've got 3 right now and a very scrappy team doing the work.
So what made Aurora an ideal place to expand to?
Well, a lot of our expansion has come in one of 2 ways. One has been driven by businesses that we partner with who've said hey, we have a large presence in this community and we want what you're offering in our city. The other way that we have expanded is by funders who've said, hey, we are willing to support your expansion. We're a nonprofit organization. So they say, we will give you grants to come to our city. And Aurora happened through the funder angle. We had a group of funders who are in the area here. They heard about us. They liked what we were doing. And they said, we think Aurora could use more of that. Aurora and Denver, they both have their kind of, competing approaches to solving homelessness. And Aurora's approach is a work-focused approach. They're building the campus in the city. And so, that's just kind of their posture. And so the funders who value that in Aurora said, hey, work-focused, addressing homelessness, yes, please, we want more of that.
It's also particularly unique being a part of the CU Anschutz medical campus. Can you talk a little bit about that dynamic?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I live so close to the cafe and I've driven through there and I used to just think it was a street you had to drive slowly down, which was kind of annoying because there's a bunch of crosswalks. But being on the campus has been incredible. The stuff that's happening there is amazing. The people who work there are just phenomenal humans. And the support we've received from that community has been just unbelievable. It's opened my eyes a ton to what's happening. You got the Fitzsimmons Innovation Campus, CU Medical, all this amazing stuff happening there. It's been a great community to be part of.
The program provides barista training and employment opportunities for individuals experiencing homelessness. What does that process look like from start to finish for somebody who is experiencing that situation?
Yeah, so we partner with other nonprofits in the city. We are certainly not kind of someone's everything when it comes to getting back on their feet. We offer a pretty specific thing. So we partner with nonprofits. We do an orientation where anyone who's interested can come to that orientation through a referral from our nonprofit partners. And those are typically think housing, transitional housing, shelters, these types of organizations. They're sending folks our way. We're doing orientation. We're telling them what the program's about. If they like it and we think that we can be helpful to them, we'll invite them into the training program. The first step is barista training. And so that is here's here's all these weird Italian words that maybe you don't know what they mean. Here's an espresso machine. Like, it's kind of intimidating, but this is how you use it. And that's a week of really intense training where someone comes in and they go from like, we ask them, what's your favorite coffee? And they're like, I don't know, coffee. Right. And by the end, they're like, ooh, I really like making a cappuccino, and they like learn these words and these techniques. And the cool thing about the hospitality industry is it's actually very accessible for most people. So if you have some tangible skills you've developed through our training, doors can open up to you. So we follow that training with what we call immersive work experiences, where we'll put people in essentially like an internship, a shadow shift at a business in the city. So they'll open up that opportunity to us. They'll let our folks come shadow their team and work a shift. And then after that, we're looking for, okay, what does your next job look like? How can we help open a door for you into a job? And the whole process is like roughly 3 weeks where we're doing some resume skills, interview practice, all the essentials there, all the barista and coffee essentials. And then we're trying to make connections and open doors for kind of career trajectory.
You're really a bridge in a journey,
yeah,
so to speak.
Absolutely.
People that come to you have shelter.
Yes.
They're now beginning a phase of personal development. I imagine, aside from the technical growth that is required in that moment, there's some emotional challenges there as well, because you're thrusting people, or you're guiding people. Thrusting might be too vigorous of a word, but you're guiding people into almost a new frame of mind, a new world, potentially. How do you navigate the emotional change that goes with becoming a quote unquote professional?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question, because, the reality is like, that's the development piece that matters the most. Coffee skills are awesome, but they'll only take you so far if you don't even believe that you're worthy of being that version of yourself that we aspire for you. But until you believe that about yourself, it's really hard to make those changes and take those steps. So from a technical perspective, we try to partner with other organizations in the city to help identify that, maybe it's mental health support that's going to really help you like unwind some of the stuff in your mind that's been a problem and a challenge for you. But at the end of the day, I think like when we see ourselves as capable of more than what we have today, like that's what can unlock so much possibility for people. And so coming into a program like ours means you're surrounded by a community who aspires for something better. We believe in you. We encourage you. We support you. We help find those resources for you, even if we can't provide them directly ourselves. And you get to be like part of this thing that is positive and looking to the future and helping you like build something for yourself alongside you, And even use the word professional. And I think a lot of times if you've been down, you don't think of yourself in that way. But like, hey, we're going to give you an apron and you're going to put a hat on with our logo on it, and you're going to serve a customer a drink, and they're going to be grateful for it and say thank you. And like, that is a good feeling, and it's an easy win, and it's a really important step kind of on that journey.
And I imagine a part of it is also meeting the trainees where they're at. Some of them may have experience, some of them may have skills, some maybe not, and you have to kind of meet them where they're at. Yeah. And kind of form it from there. I imagine it's not a one size fit all program. I imagine you have curriculum.
Yeah.
But you probably have to meet each individual where they're at in their journey.
Yeah, it's just like learning anything. Some people take to it naturally, and for others, it's more of a challenge, And I think we've had people come to the program who have a lot of experience with maybe mechanical things. They're good working with their hands. And it's like, well, the espresso machine is kind of like being under the hood of a car,
Right.
Got a lot of the same things. So it's like, okay, I can like translate these skills. Other people, they've never done that type of work, and it takes time, or they've never really drank what I would consider to be like good coffee. So it's like, okay, you can develop your appreciation for that, and we're going to work with you to get there. But other people, they actually do have coffee experience. They've done it before, and like life has just not gone the way they thought it would. And they just need an on-ramp back into something that they actually really love. And we can provide that for them as well.
And helping them discover that confidence is invaluable.
Yeah.
Do you have any numbers in terms of, how many people you've helped, or how long it takes for a person to transition to another job? Do you have any insights like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're new, so our data is still kind of in development. Right. But what our program, our capacity, what that looks like is we can run 6 people through a cohort, and we can do about a cohort a month. So if we have full cohorts, which, like I said, we had 13 people show up yesterday, and we can have 6 of them. So I think filling the cohort is not a problem. If we do 12 of those this year, we'll run 72 people through our training program. And some people get a job before they're even done with the program. Yeah. And others will walk with them kind of until they do, or maybe they decide actually, I think I want to go back to school. That's the thing. Or there's this other training program. That's actually what I want to do. I wanted to try this. I appreciate coffee, but to be honest, it's not my jam. I'm not going down that path. And so, we will pivot, we will support them in whatever direction makes most sense for their life.
Do you have a personal success story that stands out for you, something that kind of reaffirms your passion for what you're doing?
I mean, every time we do a cohort, there's a new success story. I can think of some. Yeah, I mean, the person who I think of at the moment, she actually went out to Charlotte. I don't know if I'm allowed to share a Charlotte story.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
she was such a rock star. She lived in this transitional housing program, and she came into the program, no knowledge about coffee, but just such a warm spirit people person, just took to it so naturally, and we were able to kind of support her. She went through, and in the end, kind of to make the story short, she ended up with employers kind of fighting over her. I was fielding phone calls on her behalf with our partner organizations, being like, hey, can I get an interview with her? Because I was like, guys, she's a rock star, you want to hire her, and she's doing amazing. And it's great, that's what it's all about.
Your title kind of took me aback a little bit. Director of Impact. I love that. It's very broad, but it also has power behind it. What does that mean to you?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a very powerful person, so. No, I mean, I like it. That's what we're trying to do, right? Is just create impact. And I like that it is, like I said, it's kind of a weighty title, but it's also so broad that it can mean anything. And I think that's what we're trying to do, right? Is just make a difference. We want to be a force for good in the community. We want to have an impact in the sense that our existence should be known in the community because we are doing work that matters and that does move things. We have an impact. And so that's my responsibility, is to make sure that when we bring people into these programs, that we are making a positive difference in their lives and that they're getting what they're needing out of their experience with us.
I love the aspect of partnering with community organizations to kind of have this well-rounded experience. Can you talk a little bit about some of those organizations that you partner with?
Yeah, absolutely. And I will caveat that by saying we're always looking for more. So business partners are the fuel of what we do. We are really awesome at training people. And if we don't have good business partners, the whole business model, the entire thing kind of falls apart. So there are 2 kind of primary ways that the business community supports our work. One is they serve our coffee. So they buy coffee beans from us. They serve it in their lobbies and their cafes and their airpots in the office, so I don't know you guys use, but that's an opportunity. Yeah. So that's a way that businesses support us. The other way is they host those interns that I mentioned, and or they hire graduates who are coming out. So, one of the hospitality groups in Denver, Aurora, Colorado that has a great reputation that we partner with is Sage Hospitality. Those guys, they work with us. They work with a lot of people, and they are a force for good in the city in a lot of ways. And so we love working with them. Internationally, our biggest backer has been a group called Compass, and they work in the food service industry, and they support us all the way from London to New York. They're just a massive partner and good friend of Change Please.
It's one thing to do something good, which is great. It's still a business.
Yeah.
And you can get people in for 1 cup of coffee, but if they don't love the coffee, they probably won't come back.
Yes.
Let's brag about the coffee a little bit. Talk about the sourcing of the coffee and what makes it so good and how it aligns with your mission.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think if we were doing really good work in Colorado and exploiting coffee farmers around the world, right, there would be a real disconnect there, and our team would not feel good about that. And so I'm really happy that I have transparency into that process. Obviously, that's not my particular job at the company, but I know that we are working really directly with farmers in a way that is honoring to their work, that is sustainable for them. And so, yes, our coffee kind of from the farm farm to the cup in whatever city we may be in. We've got a lot of transparency and a lot of pride in that process in terms of how it was grown, how it was roasted, and how we prepared it.
That's got to be such a difficult balance of reconciling positive social change, responsible capitalism, if such a phrase exists.
It exists.
Also, here's a great competitive product.
Yeah.
Having your business acumen, having your social change acumen, how do you kind of bring those two ideas together? Is it possible to balance those two ideas?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people feel like you have to choose. And in my opinion, I think we're seeing this play out in a lot of conversations across the country right now of just like, hey, do we check our social good stuff at the door and just focus on profits now? Or do we do both? And in my opinion, doing good is good business. I don't think that you can run a company that only thinks about the bottom line for the long term and not like do good, treat your employees well, make a positive impact. If you're running a company that is by its nature exploitative in any way, then at some point that model is not as effective. Whereas if you're doing right by the people that you work with, by your suppliers, by your customers, by your employees, like you will, I think, in the long run a much healthier and more successful company. So I do think a lot of times it feels like a choice. And if you're thinking maybe quarter by quarter, that may be reality. But if you're thinking long term, running a company that does good by all of its stakeholders is, I think very doable. And I would say that the best option when it comes to how you want to run a business.
What are some of your favorite items on the menu or some of the offerings that you like to highlight?
I'm like so hyped right now. We just put our new spring menu out, and we've never had an espresso tonic on the menu, which I don't know. It's maybe one of the nerdier coffee drinks, but it's tonic water. We use a house-made syrup. It's a ginger peach syrup with espresso. So it's just like this awesome warm weather, like really fun and interesting coffee drink. So it's my personal favorite. But we've got a lot of like our seasonal menu is awesome. And then we have all the standards as well.
Do those recipes come down from leadership, or do you guys have a little bit of creative flexibility on your end? How does that work?
Oh yeah, it's very in-house. Like I said, we have a small team. These are USA specials. They're not coming out of the UK.
Yeah.
This is our team here in the US pulling these together, and it's a lot of fun. We have a good team who thinks about those things.
Obviously, the goal is to provide as much exposure as we can for the Aurora location, but more broadly, how do you see Change Please Coffee in the foreseeable future? Kind of what's the mission, not only thriving in Aurora, but expanding?
Yeah, I mean, we want to be everywhere that wants us. If we can offer something to the community, like we want to be there. So, our offerings are coffee, which is pretty prevalent, and then, social impact and supporting people who are getting back on their feet and back into the workforce. And so, if there's a community that wants that, we absolutely aspire to be there in good time. But right now we're in Aurora and we're focused on that and just really enjoying being in the city.
Yeah, obviously people listening right now in Aurora, Denver and beyond, go into the store, grab a cup of coffee, but how can we also as community members be good stewards and good partners with what is happening at Change Please?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, coming into the cafe is a really easy way. You can also buy our beans on our website. If you're more of a home brewer, that's totally an option. And then, like I said, anyone who has access to jobs in the community, like bringing our folks in for a day, we'll pay them to come to your business for a day. I don't think I mentioned it's a paid training program. So we will pay them to be at your business. You can have them do whatever is helpful to you. Our goal is to give them experience, help them aspire to, be in a space like your business is operating. That's an amazing way to help. Or if you need help, if you're in the hospitality industry, if you're running a good business in hospitality and you're looking for people who are hungry for opportunity, who have some training, like, man, give our folks a shot. We would love to send them to you for an interview.
Somebody walks into Change Please Coffee for the first time. What's the one thing you hope they come away with aside from the great cup of coffee they're going to have?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, my hope is that it just opens up their imagination a little bit to, you know, whatever their realm may be, whatever space they operate in, just to know that like there's a lot of different ways that you can do things. You don't have to do it the normal way. You can add a little something to what you're doing, you know. Every industry has opportunity for impact and for good in the community. And so I think like if we can be an example of something that is maybe inspiring to think creatively about how to do it, then I would love it if they walk away and do something in their own space.
Andy, thank you for the great work and great coffee.
Yeah, thank you. We're happy to do both.
That was Andy Magel of Change Please Coffee. Stop by their cafe at the University of Colorado Anschutz campus at 2115 North Scranton Street in Aurora. You can also learn more online at changeplease.org. Thank you for listening to the Gateway to the Rockies podcast. Visit Aurora is the official destination marketing organization for the city of Aurora, Colorado, and acts as the primary liaison between meeting planners and hotel partners. As Aurora's Convention and Visitors Bureau, Visit Aurora's mission is grounded in showcasing Aurora as a premier destination for meetings, business, and leisure travel. Visit Aurora represents more than 75 plus hotel properties with 13,500 plus guest rooms and more than 1 million square feet of meeting space, including Colorado's largest resort, Gaylord Rockies Resort and Convention Center. As Colorado's third largest city, Aurora is located minutes away from Denver International Airport and showcases mountain views, memorable meeting spaces, and 250 plus international eateries that offer a unique experience for each and every visitor. As the Gateway to the Rockies, Visit Aurora's role in the local community goes beyond marketing the city as a destination. The Visit Aurora team is here to assist you with your Colorado visit, from facilitating your meeting, event, or convention to helping you discover local flavor and attractions. Go beyond the boardroom in Aurora, Colorado. For more, visit us at visitaurora.com.